So, I want to tell you a little bit more about myself. My name is Amy Powell, and I've been teaching aerial dance for almost 20 years now. And that was a cool detour. It wasn't exactly the original plan, though. I was originally studying psychology and thinking I was going to go down that path because I loved considering things deeply and talking deeply and inner world exploration and healing and all the personal growth stuff. In fact, I had always loved that, and it kind of made me feel like a weird kid because I noticed that I would just openly express things and talk about these things that were going on in my inner world like so candidly, and it would get me some weird looks because people were kind of taken aback and weren't expecting that. And so, I kind of always knew like, hey, I should do something that has to do with like depth and meaning and making connections. And, so I was on that trajectory, and that's always been a passion of mine. But I did, stop my graduate work in graduate school and just kind of interrupt that and take a detour into aerial dance. And funny enough, in the aerial dance, that I found so much depth work there. There was poetic and even inner world exploration in learning to get more connected with my body and learning to do things that I had never done, getting out of my comfort zone. And then, of course, we were expressing poetry and things in dance. So it was still up my alley, and it was, just a detour. I didn't necessarily expect it to end up being a part of like what I did every day, but it beautifully became that. And then funny enough, I still though was finding that connection and meaningfulness was just as prevalent as if maybe I had been doing psychology, because I was still coaching people and working with people to get out of their comfort zone and do fun things and get more playful and, do some searching, some inner work to find, the courage or the stamina or even just the confidence to do that and, to get into their playfulness more. And so, a lot of deep things were being considered, but the best and most beautiful part about it, was that it was happening through play. And so it wasn't like tedium or somebody getting lost in too much overwhelming, like this is what you should be doing, contemplative, philosophical kind of stuff, even though I do absolutely love the philosophical stuff and think it has value too. So I'm not knocking it, but it was beautiful to see that this zone was such a easy and natural transition into learning and growing as a person. And it made sense because, that's kind of how all animals learn, is kind of through play or practice or simulation. That playful component is the natural partner to growth and learning and gaining skills and, maturing and expanding, who you are. And so I saw that at work in real life through all the aerial dance teaching and getting people through into the goals that they wanted to accomplish and into being their best selves, and new things emerged that they never expected to get from aerial dance. They were just thinking they were going to try something cool. And they were, but then so much more happened. So much more. So that was sort of this spark, although there were other simultaneous things going on. I'm a person of many passions and many projects, and I had children, and I'm homeschooling my children, and they're teaching and reinforcing to me that play is the way. I'm seeing how doing things and really trying things solidifies all of the things that they need for their own inner growth and nourishment, that they need for the outer growth and nourishment too. But it was just really showing me in all these different ways, including my own life too. As I said, I love the philosophical, and I love contemplation, and I love just kind of reflecting and going inward. But I started to try things more, of course, because life took me down that path, but also I started to see the value in it. And so when I was doing things and really trying things in the form of play, but I'm saying play, sometimes it's not the like out loud laughing kind of play. Sometimes it's like the I'm willing to try something. Just, that kind of quiet playfulness. I'm willing to try something, like I said, maybe out of my comfort zone, or just something I haven't thought of, trying on a different lens, trying on a different perspective, and doing things and trying things in a lighthearted way without this like heavy, I need it to happen in a certain way. Experimentation is maybe a good word, but that started to really expand me and solidify the things that I had learned or previously contemplated, like philosophically or in my head. It's like all these ideas and these ideals and these things that were like, yeah, that makes great sense in my head. It was so much different. It was like embodying it and really making it real, making it, like a visceral feeling or experience when I tried something. And it brought it into so much more clarity and focus and realness. And, made it so that it felt like, yeah, I really owned it. And it wasn't just a thought or an ideal at all. It was like something that was mine, something that I could really bring into my life. And so anyway, I kept seeing this in all these different areas of my life. And it really kept kind of nudging me to like do more with it, or, set it up in an organized way so that there's just games that people can come and try and, really go through the process. And there's just like a whole idea box of things to grab when you need it, when you need some nourishment, when you need some growth or connection. That's the whole point. When you need to bring connection back or want to stir that connection up. And I think of it like a circuit board, of all these different areas in your life, whether it's money or relationships or connection with your kids, connection with yourself, connection with your world. These different areas, just sort of getting them all connected and illuminated on the board so that you feel more aliveness. And believe me, like just trying things and doing experimental things does make you feel more alive, because you feel like you're really living, you're really in it, you're doing it, trying things, even if, even if they're inconsequential, sort of just experiments, lighthearted truth or dare style games, which is basically what we've got here. You still feel like you're doing it. You're living life, you're doing life, you're trying at things, you're in action. And sure, you're contemplating too, and you're thinking about things and you're noticing new things. But that's where it all came from. I mean, now I'm kind of describing the games and passionate about that too. But the point was to just kind of say, well, here's how I arrived. So studying psychology and being an introspective kid at heart to begin with, and then taking my detour into aerial dance and trying things that weren't comfortable for me at all at first, and then taking that and helping others on their journey into exploring things and getting out of their comfort zone and achieving goals that they have. And then sort of meshing that with all the psychology stuff that I was continuing to learn and read about because it's such a passion, and realizing like, wow, these people who are just playing and doing aerial dance are getting so much more out of it than just that. There's like deep inner work happening and personal growth and all this stuff that's kind of like a byproduct of the play. And it's happening so naturally and fluidly. Plus my children and, growing with them. I mean, my children are so responsible for helping create the games and bring connection back, because it's actually material that we created together in our own play. And then, in my process of guiding them too, it's like games that we came up with so that I could demonstrate something or teach something. And, so all of these things have come together and, merged to synthesize and create and bring connection back. And plus you get to know a little bit about me too.